Friday to one and all. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for coming back to yet another episode of Sometimes the Old Man is Right. As usual, I am your host, Lamont Ferguson, playing the role of the old man. I'm the old man that's been at home for a little bit of time. It's been a while, I know. It's been a little bit of time. It's always been a little bit of time because this is the most inconsistent podcast in the history of podcasts. And I don't know what to tell you. Many episodes ago, I would apologize and say I'd try to do better, and then I wouldn't do better. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But this is episode 35. Episode 35, if you're a big Lamont Ferguson comedy fan, you know that this is the episode that can finally sit at the adult table at Thanksgiving. Because you know the deal. I don't consider anyone to be an adult till you're 35 years old. This episode is now old enough to sit at the adult table. No more cardboard table for this kid. Welcome to the adult table. I don't really know what the difference is between the adult table and the kids table at Thanksgiving. I've sat at both. I remember being, as an adult, that I'd actually still prefer to sit at the kids table because it was more fun. The adult table just was filled with adult conversation that didn't really mean anything to me. And even now, I don't know if the adult table, the conversation goes on, means anything to me. The kids' table seems like it's a lot more fun at Thanksgiving. There's a lot more laughing at the kids' table. But anyway, this is where the episode can now sit, have its seat at the adult table, episode 35. And if you're into the minutia, season 2, episode 11. You know what I found out, because I don't really pay much attention, is that technically the last episode that was released, which was 2 episodes on the same day, that was the anniversary. That was the anniversary of the big Sometimes the Old Man is Right podcast. 1 year. 1 year in the making. 34 episodes. That ain't bad. It should have been 52, but so we were 18 short. I did that math in my head, kids. No Common Core math for me. I just kind of carried a bunch of ones in my head. Well, maybe one, not a bunch of ones. But anyway, here we are. I thank you for being here. I have at home. I've got a lot to catch you up on as to what's been going on. So we'll kind of get through that. I'm at home for a couple of weeks is what I am. Got a couple of weeks, and then I'll head on a ship only for 1 week. And then be back home for, I think, another, at least a week, maybe 2. This is the nice, relaxing part of the year in the schedule because I front-loaded. That whole 10-week span in Alaska allows me to kind of relax during this part, which I probably should be more productive, and yet I'm not. I don't know. I'm an adult. I'm an adult that sits at the kids' table. Anyway, how are you doing? How you been? What's the good word? Sup, partners? I'm well. Thanks for asking. I know you did. As I said, I am home. I just returned from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where I did the Edmonton Comedy Festival, which was a delightful time. I will get into that in a bit. I'm going to kind of go in chronological order as to what you've missed. Or what, not you missed it, I just didn't tell you about it, so now I will. So on the date that the last time I released an episode, that was Disneyland Day. That was the celebration of Olivia's birthday at Disneyland. Did a little early because her birthday happened to fall on a weekday, so we went to Disneyland on the Sunday, and it was Disneylandish is what it was. It was hot. We're still dealing with this ridiculous heat. out here, although it's not like what the people in Florida with the aftermath of the hurricane, shout out to those people. But I'm not there. I'm here, and it was hot. It was blistering hot here. So spent the day at Disneyland, tried to do it in the old Lamont Ferguson tactical way of being able to tackle as many rides as possible with the most efficiency. And I'm going to say that it was a success. I'm going to say that. Use the Genie Plus system. That's what they're using now at Disneyland, the Genie Plus system, where what you do is you schedule when you go to the ride, and then you can access the lightning lane to get to the front of the line, which worked perfectly. I don't know what the cost was. I wish I could tell you. And I'm not so boasty as the fact that, money didn't matter. Money does matter. If you know me, money matters to me. I just don't know because I bought the tickets that all had the one encompassing thing. So it worked out well. Had we gotten there earlier, we probably would have been able to go on a few more rides, but we hit all the major rides. All the rides you would want to hit, we got them. It's a weird system. You remember back on episode 2 or 3 of this podcast that I was talking about going to Universal Studios and getting the unlimited express pass or whatever the hell that thing was. I still believe in that. You pay the extra money. Pay the extra money so you can not spend whatever your admission price was waiting in lines. It makes no sense to stand there and wait in lines, especially in 100-degree weather. Hey, I'm so glad we're at Disneyland waiting in a line. That's what I paid for. Now, it's an odd system because there are some rides that, even though you do have the Genie Plus that you did pay a little extra for, they go, but what about this ride? You pay even more to get you into the lightning lane. So the new Star Wars ride is $20 per person to move you ahead in the line. You've already paid something, but then they want a little bit more. It's enough with the nickel and diming, Mickey. You're costing us a lot. And I'm going to tell you something. Disneyland meant a lot more before it was woke. That's the best way I could describe it, is that before it was woke, it meant a lot more. The Pirates of the Caribbean or Caribbean, however it is that you say in your neck of the woods. You know what? It's an all right ride, but you can see all the wokeness that's taken place. Like, didn't there used to be a time where the guy was chasing the girl around in circles, and then you'd see that happen twice, and then the third time you'd see the girl was chasing the guy, and it was funny. We got it. And now it's only the girl chasing the guy. The pirates are politically correct. It's lost its luster on the fact that it wasn't correct for these times. But can't we be able to look at something and say, okay, yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong today. But it's kind of funny to look back on how it was. Now, this does not extend to the statues and the glorification and idealizing of Confederate soldiers and generals. Sure, take those things down, because why are we're not making fun of them like in Pirates of the Caribbean. We're actually idolizing them. Hey, that's a great man there that stood up and fought for slavery. See, there's the difference. You can still look at things through the hue of today and see the craziness of it without having to worship and idolize it like the people that were upset in the South. Well, how dare they take down these statues? Well, because these statues were horrible. You were idolizing someone that stood for something that was horrific. There are no pro-Nazi statues in Germany. I've never been to Germany, but I'm assuming that there are no pro-Nazi statues in Germany. And in essence, that's kind of the same thing. That you're putting up a statue of a Confederate soldier or a Confederate general and saying, look how great that person was. There are no statues of Nazis going, look how great that person was in Germany. So can we... It seems to me that we are going farther away from common sense. And again, I thought this was going to be in order, chronological order. I was going to talk about Disneyland, which in essence I kind of did. But this may jump to something else because I just talk until I'm done. But here, let me wrap up Disneyland. It was a fun time. You know, it was hot, but it was fun. You go through, you do what you can to get through. And you know what the thing? I don't even know if I should be talking about this. A lot of people in the scooters in Disneyland. A lot of folks in those scooters going through. And you know that they just have the scooter at Disneyland. They didn't take the scooter to Disneyland. It's not like the scooter is a part of their everyday life. It only becomes convenient. Oh, I'm going to have to walk a lot, so therefore here. Now, this is a fine line. I got to walk on this. But I'm going to say the majority of the people, this is a safe assessment, the majority of the people that I saw in scooters were morbidly obese. And I'm going to say that's part of the reason why they had to have a scooter. I would think that if you were going to go to Disneyland and you were a morbidly obese person to where your framework can't support you not eating, your process of overeating is causing your body's framework to crumble in front of your very eyes. That maybe you try to get into some type of Disneyland shape before you attempted to go to Disneyland, or you just don't go. Now, I know that's a simplistic thing, and I know for the liberal people that listen, that's a mean thing, and that is, it's non-empathetic, non-sympathetic. Life is not empathetic. Life is not sympathetic. Life at a lot of times is black and white. A lot of times it is. And a lot of times it's not. But a lot of times it is. If you're at the point where you're in a scooter, there are just things you can't do. Like go to Disneyland and be on your feet all day. Oh, they got a scooter for me. Guess what I can do? I can still eat like crazy. As a person who has battled weight issues my entire life and yet still been an athlete, it sits in my head to go, hey, look, the reason why you can't do this is because you're too goddamn fat. Maybe you should stop eating. And you know what I'll do? I'll try to control it. But if it's a point where I go, oh man, I got to be in a scooter, I can't do this, that's on me. That's on me. I did that to me. I ate myself into being non-mobile. It's not up to other people to solve that problem. Which brings me to this. As I said, we are getting farther and farther away from common sense. I would say, I don't know about society because I don't live in other countries, but I want to say in America, we're getting farther and farther away from common sense. We are, and this has been going on for a long time, we are way too litigious. This is not my fault. Who can I sue? Coffee is hot, and I spilled it in my lap. Who can I sue because the coffee is hot? Now, I'm that's that old example of the woman that burned her crotch. But I don't know the particulars of the story. If it's the case that they didn't put the lid on correctly, then more power to her. Because I don't know how many times I've received a soda from a fast food place and the lid wasn't on and then boom, it spilled in the car. Well, that wasn't my fault. That was the person who handed me the cup's fault because they didn't put the lid on correctly. They didn't put the lid on snugly enough to realize that if I hand this to another person, this may cause spillage. So it's a weird type of gray area. But this idea that nothing is your fault and it's got to be someone else's fault, we've steered farther and farther away from common sense, farther and farther away from accountability. We're getting farther and farther away from accountability. Take responsibility for the actions caused by you. If you made the decision and there were no other forces around you, no one said anything, you went, I'm going to make this decision, that's what I'll do. Well, then that's on you. Take accountability. We need an accountability program in the United States instead of this is someone else's fault program, which seems to be what the path that we're on. I was watching football last weekend. Rams game. Rams-Niners. A guy runs out on the field. Now, you don't see this, this is another interesting thing, because television networks used to show the person running out on the field. Then they had this whole thing where they go, we're not going to show this because this could promote this behavior and make it so more people do it. Well, here's the weird thing about it. People still do it. You don't show it on television. You don't cut away. You don't cut away from the whatever's going on the field and then go. But the broadcaster will mention it. They just go, hey, there's an idiot on the field. We are not going to show this, so we don't want to give them any publicity. But it's a different day. Now there's cameras and camera phones and everything's on it. So immediately you can see exactly what happened. You go, hey, they're not showing it. Well, let me pull it up on social media because I'm sure somebody's filming it. And sure enough, every single time. So you might as well show it, because I think that the reach of social media is much greater than the reach of network television, because all it takes is, hey, man, did you see this? Oh, let me send you the link. Boom. Because the television happens right then and there. This social media lasts forever. It continues. So you might as well show it. We used to have, remember the interruptions we used to have? The Morgana, the kissing bandit. She would run onto the field and run up to a player and kiss him on the cheek. And they would show that, oh, it's just good-natured fun. That's all that is. And then we had the father and son in Milwaukee that went onto the field and were attacking the first base coach, I think is what it was, and we're beating that guy up. So yeah, I get it. But those two dudes were insane. You know what? I got to look up that story and see what happened to those dudes, because that was a crazy time. That a father and son, good Lord, again, shitty parents and their shitty kids decided to run out onto the field and attack a first base coach. I don't know if it was I think it was a first base coach. I'm pretty sure it wasn't an umpire. But I got to look at that story. You got to look up that story. Milwaukee Brewers happened somewhere in the 90s, I would say. Early 90s. But anyway, this guy runs onto the field. He's one of these animal rights activists. Because they seem sane, don't they? All the animal rights activists. They seem like sane people. I hate to paint you all with a broad brush, because I get what you're doing and I understand what you're saying. But the loudest people amongst you are insane. They can't reason. They can't listen. And you know what they mostly can't do? Shut the fuck up. That's what they mostly can't do. Constantly. Oh, they just blathering on, not understanding any tactical arguments at all. Just, I'm going to overscream you and yell about the animals and what you're doing to the animals. So a guy runs onto a field, a football field, wearing some shirt that has the .com logo on it, carrying a canister that is emitting pink smoke, an incendiary device. He's running down the field with this thing. It's a lot of smoke. I don't even know how it works. It's a lot. Running all throughout the football field. You know what? Every time I have seen any of these guys that have run out onto a football field, the security never can catch him. Oh, the security, it is a comedy of Keystone Cops errors where they're falling down all over the place. They can't. Shouldn't this be part of their training? Hey, set a guy loose. Figure out how we can contain this person without us falling down, running into each other, and looking like a bunch of incompetent fools, which is what every security person on the field looks like. No wonder people keep doing it. You know how long you can run around? That guy ran around for close to a minute until the football players put him down. You know, the guys that, hey, we do this for a living. You want us to do this to a person without pads? Not a problem. We got you. So they laid that dude out. Well, this week, of course, that guy is suing one of the players. Now, 2 players hit him, but he's only suing one from what I can tell in the news stories that come through. I'm sure it's for some type of damages. And I'm hopeful, although not 100% sure, that this just gets thrown out. Just gets tossed out in the court. And if you want to also help, any lawyer that takes the case, also immediately disbarred. This will help. All this will help. You run to a lawyer and say, this is what I did. I went to a game and I ran onto the field with an incendiary device up and down the field. And then a player knocked me out. How much money can I get? A lawyer should go, you should get out of my office right now because you're stupid. The fact that you think that anybody would take this case means you're a moron. But no, a lawyer went, yeah, I bet we could do this. That lawyer is part of the problem. The person's part of the problem. The lawyer's part of the problem. The entire system is ridiculous. But as I said, we are going farther and farther away from accountability. It's got to be somebody's fault. I see a lot of the young people. This is going to be old man versus young people thing. A lot of young people angry at the older generation, angry at their parents. Now, I am not anti-counseling or therapy. Matter of fact, I'm pro-counseling and therapy. Talk to somebody. We all need to talk to somebody. I talk to myself. That's my counseling and my therapy. But there have been times where I've had to talk to a professional. No problem with it. No shame in that. We all do it, just not in the professional manner. People get around. I got to go talk to my friends. I got to go talk to women. I got to go talk to my girlfriends and see where we're going. That's counseling. That's therapy. You just didn't do it in a professional manner. So this stigma that we have as a society that, oh, if you go talk to somebody, a professional, there's something wrong with that. It's asinine because we all do it in some way, shape, or form. So, but this idea where the young people, we got to go to therapy because my background, my parents didn't do enough. There was not enough I love yous. There was not enough hugs. There was not enough this, and this is why I am how I am. Well, I hate to break it to all of you, but we are all the product of broken people. Every single one of us is the end result of broken people. And you just do the best you can as you can. I don't know where these perfect people are that the younger generation believes that they're entitled to have that life, even though that life does not exist. If anyone can produce to me the absolutely perfect parents, Find them. I'd like to meet them. I'd like to read about them if they no longer are alive. I'd like to see where these people that do not exist exist. Because no one comes into parenting with a manual or a guide. We only go off of how we were raised, and we then try to correct the mistakes as we deem them to be mistakes to pass on to the next generation. Here's part of the problem. Some of those people don't see any mistakes being made, and they just pass on the bad behavior because they shouldn't have been parents. This is how life is. So I want to know where these perfect people, the people that believe they're entitled to have had a better life, a better upbringing, compared to whom? We're all broken. The people before us were broken. And the people before them were broken. And the people before them were broken. All we're trying to do is cut down the mistakes. That's really all you can do. Cut down the mistakes. Whatever it is you think you were lacking in, then you try to give that to your kid and see how it works. Here's the weird thing about it. You make all the corrections you want to, and that kid still broken. Still broken because we're human beings. And human beings by nature are broken. So sometimes you just got to take responsibility and take accountability. I made that mistake. That's on me. Just admit it, acknowledge it, and try to be better after that. That would be my life lesson. Admit it, acknowledge it, try to be better. It's all you can do. You can't keep dwelling. And believe me, I'm a dweller. I'm a dude that dwells way too much on things that have taken place in the past that I can't escape. And there's no reason for it. There's no point in doing it. There are times where I will cringe about moments that I did something weird or did something wrong or averted disaster where I get caught in this mental loop. And I go, what are you doing? There's a point where you got to shake yourself and go, what are you doing? That was a long time ago. It's not happening now. And there's nothing you can do to correct it. So let's go. Let's move forward. Let's learn and move forward. It's all we can do. So we'll see what happens with this dude. I certainly hope that it gets thrown out. But the fact that it became news, that may even be enough. Because he'll get a camera in front of him. He'll plug his animal rights site, which is even more productive than him running around on the field with a T-shirt that no one saw and a in pink smoke bomb. So he'll get his time. He'll get his glory in the sun, and he'll be able to do it. And then that'll show the next person that, well, this is the sacrifice you got to pay. You're going to have to take a good lick from a DB. But other than that, you'll still be able to get your message out. So, hey, it looks like it's worth it. There is something else. Like I said, I was going to go in chronological order, but I'm not. So, as I said, I did the Edmonton Comedy Festival, which was delightful. Shout out to Andrew Gross and his wife, Carol, and all the members of the staff that made it possible for the Edmonton Comedy Festival to occur. It was a great time. Nice little hang with comics. And it was what it should be, which is a festival, which is just a showcase type of deal. You put on good shows for audience members. The comics get a nice environment where we can hang out and possibly network and help each other. You know, there were many times I saw a couple of guys or girls doing some jokes that hey, why don't you try this? And people are very appreciative of the fact that, hey, that's how it works. Now, I'm going to say for the most part of comics, that's how comics are. We are very helpful amongst each other. But by the same frame, we're also very catty to each other. Because that same person that you helped Sometimes comics will turn around right behind their back go, I mean, I did help them, but their act is horrible. That's how comics are. Not a lot. Sometimes you help and you just go, man, I'm glad I could help. And you're appreciative of the fact that you help. But there's two sides of the coin. But this atmosphere was fantastic. You just kind of hang out. I see people that I've never seen before, and you get to sit and watch. And as somebody who still loves the craft of stand-up, loves watching it, I love seeing people I hadn't seen before doing the craft well. And it makes me happy. So everything about that was fantastic. Now, to the things that had nothing to do with the festival, but were kind of festival adjacent, that were extremely annoying. Alaska Airlines. Now, you already know my hatred of LAX, right? I've gone over this, matter of fact, recently. My hatred of the airport of LAX. I really don't have a lot of airlines that I have bad feelings towards. There's some that I avoid because I've not had good experiences with. Air Canada would be one of those. There were years I had nothing but great experiences with Air Canada. And then all of a sudden, Air Canada went off the rails, and then I had nothing but bad experiences with Air Canada. So I will try to avoid them. WestJet is an airline that I absolutely loved for years. And then something changed. I know exactly what changed with trying to be quick about this, not to get you into the weeds. WestJet was an airline that was owned by the employees. It was one of those types of airlines, and they were great. Then I guess WestJet had some financial issues. They got sold to a hedge fund company, and ever since then, they've been trash because a hedge fund company has no experience in owning an airlines, so they don't know what the hell they're doing, and it's not been good ever since. So that's WestJet. Other than that, all the other airlines I've had an all right time with. Alaska, I have been an air mileage member of Alaska for 26 years. This is the odd thing about them. I have had my luggage lost once prior to this past weekend, and it was by Alaska Airlines. In the same spot. I was coming from Calgary to LA. I went Calgary to Seattle, Seattle to LA. By all accounts, everyone says that, well, it got on the plane and went to Seattle, and then no one was able to tell me what took place after that. Now, this was, I'd say this is about 15 years ago. I never saw that luggage again. They compensated me for all the items inside the luggage that I could remember were in the luggage, but I never saw the luggage. I never heard word as to what could have happened with the luggage. It just was gone. And to this day, it still puzzles me. Every time I go to the airport, I think, maybe today I'll see that luggage. Maybe today it'll show up out of nowhere. But it was gone. I don't know how they made a luggage disappear, but gone. So this past weekend, LAX to Seattle, Seattle to Edmonton, on Alaska Airlines. I went to check in online, couldn't. Some weird thing going on. It's got to be verified by a gate agent. Okay, fine. I get to the airport. As you know, that they've kind of cut down on gate 8. Everything is a kiosk now. So I say, hey, I need to check in, and he points you to a kiosk. I said, well, that's not going to work because I tried checking in online, and they said I need to see a gate agent. So he sends me over to the gate agent. The gate agent immediately says, hey, the kiosks are over there. But the gate agent, everyone's trying to pass you off to the kiosk. Even the people that have jobs that you would think they go, oh man, a person. I'd like to talk to a person. Like, no, I can't be bothered. I said, well, the kiosk dude sent me over here because I need to be here. It's like, all right, fine. He's helping somebody. He helps them. I get ready to check in, and they can't do it. They can't check me in there. I don't know what the holdup is. I don't know what's going on. But he's tried a bunch of things. Now he's got to call over a manager. The manager can't figure it out. Then they finally figure it out. No one explains because it's not really my business. Like, hey, what happened on your job? It's like, no. He just says, all right, well, we got it. And he hands me my bag tag and checks my bag in and gives me a ticket. Now, I'm not even paying that much attention because I'm just, all right, I'm happy this is over with. I'll go through security and get to my gate and be done with this nonsense. I looked at the bag tag and it said Seattle, SEA, the airport code for Seattle. And I also only had a flight for the leg to Seattle. Now, that didn't register with me until I got on the plane, and as we were landing, it dawned on me. Wait a minute, you don't have a physical ticket for the next leg. And your bag tag says Seattle. I have a feeling that my baggage is only going to Seattle. So I tell the other comic, John Wing, who is on the same flight, I said, I think I may have a problem. I don't have a ticket for the next leg. I'm already in the airport, so I don't have to worry about that. And I know I'm on the next leg. But I think my baggage is staying here in Seattle because that's where the tag says. So we go to the gate, and I explain to the gate agent that, hey, I think my bag is only being taken to Seattle here. She then assures me that, no, it's been checked all the way. They still can't check me in for this flight, this leg from Seattle to Edmonton. It takes two different people. They finally figure it out, give me a ticket. They go, we got to cancel this one and rebook your next flight. So, all right, fine. So I'm still on the same plane. They've canceled the one. They've rebooked it. I said, I'll check my carry-on here because you guys have limited space. And she says, well, then you can pick up both bags in Edmonton. So now twice I've been told that both of my bags, that at least that checked-on bag, will get to Edmonton. But I'm still puzzled because of the fact that that baggage tag says SEA. And I've flown a lot in my life. I'm on a plane at least once a month. At least twice a month because I got to go and then come back. So at the very least, I'm on an airplane twice a month. And I know that the baggage tag is the final destination of the baggage. Wherever you're going, that's the airport code it should have on there. So I'm still concerned, but I'm not going to say anything. This is their job. This is what people do when they act like they know their job. I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to trust that you know your job. I'm not going to say, that says SEA. Shouldn't it say YEG? I'm going to trust you. I get off the flight in Edmonton. Baggage comes out. There's my carry-on. Belt shuts down. No initial check bag. I go stand in line as I thought. Stand in line, fill out the form. Girl looks up the baggage. She goes, yeah, it's in Seattle. Yeah, where I thought it would be. I don't say anything because I'm defeated at this point. I'm tired of being the smartest person in the room when I'm not the smartest person in the room. This is basic intelligence it takes. It's basic deductive reasoning, basic critical thinking. That's all it is. As I've said many times, if I was in another country, if I was in Europe, I would be considered average. But in America, I'm a goddamn genius. So I'm told, yeah, it's in Seattle. They'll put it on the same flight that I just got in on. It'll be in the same time tomorrow. She then asks, do you want to come to the airport and get it, or do you want it delivered? Do I want to come to the airport and pick up your mistake? Do I want to make a second trip to the airport to cover your incompetence? Oh my goodness. How can I sign up for that? Please, what can I do to help you do your job? I paid $30 for the bag that I'm not leaving with. Is there anything else I can do to help your absolute incompetence? No, I want the bag delivered to my hotel. All right. So I leave. Head to the hotel. Sans luggage. And that's the big bag. That's the bag that you put everything in. Toiletries, clothing you're going to wear, underwear. That's what's in that bag. So I go and I wait and I go hang out at the show. But my luggage will be here the next day, right? That's my saving grace. It'll be here the next day. Not a problem. It's going to be here. Well, the time arrives when the flight should have came in, which is around 11:30. I wait for a little bit of time. I call the number that they've put on there. This is the local number. No one answers. No one answers. I leave a message. I wait some more. I call back. No one answers. I call the national line. She goes, well, I'll just contact them and then they'll call you. So that's the setup. That little back and forth. I call the local number. No one answers. It's a recording. I call the national number. They claim we'll contact them. They'll call you. Well, that went on for another day. So now I've not had my luggage for 2 days. I leave on the third day. I finally call the national number and I tell her, here's my big concern, is that I'm going to leave in about 12 hours and then somehow they will have my luggage to me and I'll be back at home. And then I'll have to figure out how to get my luggage from a hotel in Edmonton back to me. She goes, well, I'll send them a letter or send them a note saying don't deliver the luggage until you call and talk to him. The final day I call and someone finally says, this is not the local number. No one ever answers the local number. She says, your luggage is on its way. It'll be to you by 5 p.m. Now, this is the last night that I'm there. Someone from the luggage thing calls. He says, yeah, this is so-and-so. Got your luggage. Will someone be home? I said, it's a hotel. Leave it with the clerk. They delivered my luggage at 4 p.m. on Saturday night. I arrived at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday. I leave at 6 a.m. on Sunday. One person said they were sorry. No one else said anything. They just say, hey, we'll try, we'll do this, we'll do that. After I received my luggage, I received phone calls from the guy that I guess is responsible for dropping off the luggage, or the department that is, asking if I received my luggage. I'm like, yeah, someone already dropped it off. Oh, okay, well, they didn't clear it. I'm like, this is just one dumb, horrible mistake after another. So all I can think is, why did we bail out the airlines? We'd have figured it out. We bailed out the airlines back during the big crash, and they never got any better. They didn't say thank you. They didn't say, hey, we'll do better this time. No, as a matter of fact, they got worse. They got even worse. So I've had my luggage lost twice, both times by Alaska Airlines. You know what George W. said. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't be fooled or fooled again. Whatever he said. But I will try to avoid Alaska like the plague from now on. Because that is one shitty airlines. You couldn't try and handle a situation worse. If you put down on paper, I'm going to handle a situation with a passenger with lost luggage in a horrible manner, I'm sure you would miss out on many of the steps that Alaska did in dealing with me. And it becomes a point where at the end, they act like, well, you got your luggage. Why are you complaining? Meanwhile, if you go to their site, they have a 20-minute luggage guarantee. If 20 minutes after your flight, you've not received your luggage, they will compensate you. It's minimal, very nominal, $25 discount on the next flight, or they'll award you 2,500 miles for your mileage plan. By the way, none of those offers were offered to me. None of those things were even said to me. If that's a plan that you have and someone has had their luggage lost or delayed, you should at least tell them, hey, by the way, we're very sorry that you're going through this, but this is a program that we have. I'll give you all the information so that you'll at least kind of be compensated for your time, blah, blah, blah. No one said anything. I had to search for it. That's how filthy and nasty and underhanded the airlines are, that at least Alaska Airlines is, that you had to search for their policy of getting your luggage on time, and this is what'll happen if they don't. They won't even say it. Yeah, we got a program, but we're not allowed to tell you about it. But, if you do a little digging and searching, you may find something. That's dirty. That's horrible. That is F the customer first, is what it is, instead of trying to be helpful and polite. So that was the extent of my Edmonton Comedy Festival into my Alaska Airlines fiasco, because now I had to buy clothing, right? I had to buy clothing and toiletries, and they do have a thing that if you search for it that says, we will compensate you for your things, just turn in your receipt. But you have to search for it, and it's a lot of paperwork to fill out. You got to fill out a form, and then you got to have your receipts, and you got to write a letter, and you got to mail it, physically mail it. What is this, the 1800s? I can't talk to somebody. You should have it on file. They tell you, hey, by the way, your conversation may be recorded for your safety. You don't have that? You don't have logs of that? Or are you just not recording and this is just something that you say? Because I should have to be able to get compensated for this without having to jump through all the hoops of putting all the stuff together. Because I'm pretty sure what happens is people go, oh, that's so much trouble. And then I got my luggage. I'm happy. And then you're off. And the airlines is off the hook. We have gone away from being responsible, accountable, and giving a damn about anything. This is what it's become. And sometimes I joke about the fact that I'm so glad I am at the end of this ride called life. Not the very end, but I can see the end of the ride from where I'm sitting on these tracks. And I am thankful and grateful because it's not getting any better. It'd be great if you go, man, all the things I'm going to miss while I'm gone or when I'm gone. Oh, man, I wish I could live for so much longer because it's going to be so great. No, I don't have that feeling at all. As I've said many times, when I would think about the world was going to end, I thought it would happen at a much faster pace. All this feels like is that we are dragging our feet for the end of civilization. And I'm glad where I sit on this ride. Because, I feel bad for the people that have to put up with this. And I also feel bad that they did not get to see when it was better. Now, as I've said many times, there's no such thing as good old days, but there are good old moments. There are good old moments within days. And customer service used to be better. There were days when customer service was better. There were days when things involving society were better. I'm not saying overall. I'm not saying, I can pick a time period where everything was great, because that's not the case. But I can pick moments and instances where things were better. A lot of this has to do with customer service. A lot of it has to do with the idea that when a person had a job, they were that job. I'm a banker. What do? I work at the bank. That's what makes me a banker. And I know all the aspects about banking. But now, a banker is a person that just happens to work at the bank. As a matter of fact, I don't even think we could call them a banker. We could call them a person that works at the bank. And what I know about it is whatever happens in my department in my area. Anything outside of it, I don't know. I don't know the entire global aspect of banking. I just know what I have to do that has to do with banking. I don't know if I told this story before, but one of the greatest moments, this was years ago. I was working in Calgary, and next to the hotel they were putting me up at, there was a Pizza Hut right next door. Sometimes you just walk over there, get your food. I walk over there, I'm going to order a little personal pan pizza, take it back to my room. Now, I think this is the beginning of when this used to take place. The first thing, a lot of times in customer service aspects, they ask you what's your phone number because they want to pull up the database to find out who you are, what your tendencies are. We got to log this in that you've come here. We got to track you. What's your phone number? So a man is standing in front of me. He's an older man. He's standing in front of me. He wants to place his order. The kid behind the counter says, "What's your phone number?" He goes, I don't want to give you my phone number. I just want to order. And he starts into his order, and the kid goes, No, sir. I need your phone number. And the guy goes, I don't want to give you my phone number. I just want to place an order. And the kid goes, I need your phone number before I can get into the computer. And this goes on and on. The guy's like, no. And the kid's insisting on getting the phone number. The kid could have at any point in time put in any 7 digits or any 10 digits if you want to add the area code, and then just got to the next screen. But he was insistent because this is his training. I need a phone number before I start taking this order. The man gets fed up and he looks at the kid and he says point blank, "Do you want to sell pizzas or not?" And the look on that kid's face was the first time that he realized that's what he does for a living. It's sell pizzas, not input phone numbers. Your job is to sell pizzas. And somehow the kid figured out how to get past the phone screen and take the man's order. That has always been the most iconic moment in customer service that I've ever witnessed. Do you want to sell pizzas or not? Because the people who work at places now all believe that they are better than what it is that they are doing when it comes to customer service. Talk to a customer service rep, works on the phone. Well, I'm not here to get yelled at all day. Actually, you are. That's the whole point of your job. Is that your job is to kind of get yelled at because someone in your company fucked up. Nobody calls customer service to go, hey, I wanted to tell you the sun is shining and the birds are singing, and I just called this number randomly to let you know. No, they call because there's an issue. There's a problem that your company messed up and they need it solved. Every time that phone rings, it's a red or blue wire situation. So yeah, you did take a job that requires you to be yelled at all day. Your job is to be the best bomb defusal person in the whole department. I'm going to cut red or blue wire before they yell, before the timer starts to accelerate. And I'm going to get them on their way. Look, I'm sorry remember I told you about the LAX thing with the girl that said, hey, do you need a luggage cart? She cut the blue wire before the bomb exploded. Hey, let me help you out. I can't do anything about the past, but I can help you out from this moment forward. Everyone in customer service needs to understand that. There's a big backlash against the customer is always right. I get it, because the customer is not always right. I do understand that. But the customer did pay money, and the customer is part that keeps your job being there, makes your job actually exist. Maybe a little more compassion, a little bit more sympathy towards the customer. All right. Let's move on, shall we? We're already almost an hour into this madness. I saw this as a news story, and this, you know me, I see things from all the angles, and you got to see things from all the angles to be able to kind of function in life. So I saw a story where a guy, hang on, you know what, I got to get all the particulars of this before I actually tell you. Let me look it up. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. So here's the story. There is a 68-year-old man in New York. He was arrested for desecrating his ex-wife's grave. This is a 68-year-old man. This is what he was doing. He would show up on a regular basis to his ex-wife's grave and urinate on her grave. There's also that he'd leave bags of feces on the gravestone. So this man would do this. I don't know how regularly this man would do this, but I guess it was somewhat regularly. I don't think it was a yearly thing. So one of the woman's children set up a camera and saw that this man was doing this. Now, this man, the child had no relation to the man. So the man was not the child's father. This woman had been married a long time ago, back in the 70s, to this man. And then had since remarried, got married, had a family, went on with her life. This guy also remarried. Matter of fact, this is how crazy the story was. The man would go with his wife, his current wife, park in the cemetery. She'd wait in the car. Then he'd go do his thing, come back to the car, and then they'd leave. There's a lot here. The family of the woman is upset. They're like, we want answers. I looked at this because people are like, this is sick. This is disgusting. How dare this man? He's already remarried and moved on. Why is he doing this? My question is, why is he doing this? Why is a guy who was married to a woman back in the 70s, 50 years ago, why is he still showing up at his ex's grave to do these types of things? Like, you can say, oh, this man's crazy, but the man got married. He got remarried. And my thought was, what did she do to him? Or what did he perceive that she did to him? As we're not going to do this whole victim blaming. There, you see how I got out of the whole victim blaming thing, even though it is kind of a victim blaming thing. What did she do that he perceived that was so wrong that this dude can't get over it? That even while married, he still had this. And the family's like, he moved on with his life. Well, let me tell you something about family and people. You don't realize this because we all put our parents in these weird type of parent lifestyle thing, this parent category, this folder. And we almost don't realize or remember that they were something before they were parents. And when they were parents in the early stages, they weren't the same parents that we saw when we were adults. Remember what we talked about earlier? I say we, it was just me. About parents making mistakes, about every parent making mistakes. We'll keep that in mind. As much as you put your parent right now, even when listening, put your parent on a holier than thou pedestal, that is a flawed human being that made some crazy mistakes, that made some mistakes that if you looked at him, you would go, oh my God, not my mom did that? Yeah, your mom did. My dad did what? I can't. Yes, he did. Because he is a human being traveling through this crazy maze called life. So if you look at the story, This 68-year-old man, briefly married to the woman back in the 70s, he left when she got pregnant, claiming that the child was not his. So he's like, well, what? If you're pregnant and it's not my kid, well, I'm out. And he walked. Then DNA testing showed that it was his kid, that it was his biological daughter. You think that might screw you up for a little bit of time in your life? You think that maybe a woman that you loved, that you're married to, said, I'm pregnant, but it's not your kid, and you walk, and then you find out, I don't know how many years later, or how much longer after that, that it was your kid? Yeah. I think every day after she died, you might have to show up and piss on her grave. See, you're looking at this as a woman who lived her life and now she's passed away and she's dead. Well, she made some decisions that messed up people who's still living lives. And those people are carrying that anger. And they don't know how to deal with it. Yeah, that 68-year-old dude needs to be in counseling. That dude needs to be in therapy. That dude should have been in therapy and counseling a long time ago. But he ain't. And his coping mechanism is, I will desecrate the grave of the woman that did this to me. I'm not saying, what's Chris Rock say? I'm not saying what it's right, that what he did is right. But I can understand. This idea that, again, this is a human thing. And in society, we put women on this untouchable pedestal that the majority of women can't make mistakes. The majority of women are inherently good. And men are inherently evil. Well, that's garbage. Because if you want to talk about equality, that's where it is. Men are inherently evil as women are inherently evil. It's equal. David Brenner, the great late comedian David Brenner, once was going through a custody battle with his wife, ex-wife, and he said something that was extremely powerful and extremely poignant and extremely dark. He said that a woman can muster the amount of strength to rescue her child from a car, lift a car. There have been many stories where women have lifted a car off of her child to save that child. And he said, and yet that same woman will throw that child in front of a train to spite a man. That is powerful and dark and true. This past that we've given women, that they're incapable of doing heinous things, is absolutely garbage. We know men are capable of doing heinous things, but for some reason in society, we have this belief, or maybe it's this desire, that we believe that a woman can't. How many stories do we have to have where we see that it is possible? Because we always see the news stories where the man, there was a story just recently where the family, the guy went and killed all the children and then killed himself. Why? Because the mother had a new boyfriend. So he was going to spite her to do that. We see that all the time. But we almost see it so much to where we believe that it's not a woman thing. Yet, how many stories? Oh my goodness. The woman drove herself and her kids into the river. A woman did. It happens on both sides. It happens on both sides. So to say that it's not possible, You're living in a weird world where that's not true. Like I say, I understand what this dude did. Yeah, man, go get therapy. But showing up there, and here's the odd thing, his current wife, what's going on with her? What was that conversation before and after? Or is it a point where she goes, yeah, I kind of get it. I want to sit down with her and go, what was said to you when he was going to desecrate his ex-wife's grave? And what were you thinking while you were in the car waiting while he would go do this? It's the I'm trying to remember the joke, but the Tiger Woods thing. Remember the whole Tiger Woods situation where he was having affairs with everyone? I mean, let's be honest. He was having affairs with everyone in America, is what was going on. And in the point, I said that the one thing that women hate more than a cheating man, for the most part, is other women. Other women hate other women. Women are the most negative towards other women than any other man could be towards men. It's a weird dynamic with women amongst women. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the competitive thing. I don't know where it started. But it is a thing. Men do it too, but not as much as women. And you can sit there and complain all you want to, but I'm telling you the truth. As I say, you know, then it's the name of the podcast, for crying out loud. It may not be popular, but it is what it is. And it's not bashing. I'm just saying what I see. So, yeah, this dude, I don't know what's going to happen because this happened just recently. But I don't know if there's going to be charges brought or this whole thing comes out and then all of a sudden the family goes, okay, yeah, we're going to back down on this thing. You stay away from the grave. Stop leaving feces on the grave. Stop urinating on the grave. Go get therapy. But we understand what took place. All right. It's time to wrap this thing up. You've prattled on long enough. I'm physically losing steam. Oh, well, you know, I watched... remember I talked about the Quantum Leap show? Well, I tuned in. I watched the Quantum Leap show, and I will tell you this. I'm all in. You know, it's time travel. It's hard to keep me out of sci-fi. That's my genre. I love it. Action and sci-fi are my genres. And if you got both, like it's an action sci-fi film, I'm all in. Now, there's not a lot of action in this. It's just sci-fi, and I'm all in. Remember I told you that the loophole was that you have an Asian man jumping throughout history, but he jumps in other people's bodies. That's how they do it. That's how they take care of it. I will say the one thing that did stand out, because I do notice this. I notice when Madison Avenue or any type of liberal marketing starts going way overboard in an effort to be inclusive. Quantum Leap may be the most inclusive show I've ever seen on television. If there was a check box, a box to check for every group, they got it. They got everybody there. But you got an Asian man as the lead. Check. There's an Asian woman in the show. Check that off. And by the way, it's funny because when you look and you're not paying attention, she looks like the affordable version of Ming-Na Wen, who I love. I love Ming-Na, and she looks like her, but they're like, hey, we can't afford Ming-Na, so we're going to get this girl. So that's the funny thing. My wife said she's the Wish version of Ming-Na, which is hilarious. So they got an Asian man, check. Asian woman, check. And it's an older Asian woman, not like a young Asian woman. This is not an old, but 30s, 40s Asian, check. Got it. Got a black male, check. He's in charge. They got a white female who's the minority on the show. She's in there. They have got, I don't know. This is the thing about it. I don't know if he's gay. I don't know if he's non-binary. I don't know what, but he fits into that category. Check. We've got him. We haven't talked about his backstory. We don't know. We know he's a male, we believe, but maybe he doesn't identify as a male. We don't know. He's got fingernail polish. He wears makeup. He's got lipstick on. He's got crazy hairstyles. We don't know what he is. We know he is a character in the show. Solid. Check. They got them all. They got every character you'd want in this show. It's an entire thing. It's so funny. I'm like, wow, you really tried hard. Like the commercials, I talked about this in another podcast, where the commercials have gone overboard, where every couple in a commercial is an interracial couple. This is what they've done on this show. They're like, this is what it is. Boom. Right? We're good. So if I was one of the Trump people, or one of these people that, they're trying to get rid of white people, I would be a little annoyed at this show. But I'm not. I'm just a person that sees what they're doing and goes, interesting. This is going to make people angry. But I like it. Solid show. Every person in the cast, solid. I don't look at any of the characters and go, ugh. No, I like it. I like to see where it's going to go. The lead, I like him. So, thumbs up for Quantum Leap, which only means it's going to be canceled. Because if I like a show, it's not going to be around for long. I think that may be about... Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. How dare I almost finish this show and wrap this thing up? I know you're sitting there. You're like, hey, wait a minute. Did Lamont just do an entire podcast and not talk about baseball or pickleball? Well, he almost did. And now I didn't put it up front so that you wouldn't listen and go, oh, this again. No, I put it at the end, but I almost forgot. All right, here's a couple of things. It is baseball playoff time. It's exciting because this is what Major League Baseball has gotten a lot of things wrong. As you know, as regular listeners of the podcast, my contention with Major League Baseball and the direction it's going. It's not going to be baseball anymore. Next is the last final year of what's close to baseball. Next year, it'll be something different. But this is what they've done for the playoffs. And I didn't even realize this. And I'm a huge sports fan. I didn't realize that we changed the playoff format. I thought we still had a wild card play-in game, but we don't. We now have a wild card play-in series, which makes it more fair. There's a problem with it, but that's fine. It's still, a series is better than one game. There was so much excitement in the one game, but things could happen. Injuries could happen, and then the team that maybe won that probably more deserving wouldn't. Now it's a best of three. I like this. This is going to be very exciting. There are 4 best of 3 series that are about to take place. The only thing that makes it off is that they're all for one team home series, which I don't really think is fair because I guess it goes by seeding. But if 2 out of 3, one of those teams, one of those games should be on the other team's home field to only make it fair. The one team shouldn't get all 3 games, but that's how they've made it. And I understand the logistics of travel because the first series, one of the series is San Diego versus the New York Mets. Well, that would be crazy to have one game somewhere and then go across the country to play the next game and then back across the country to play the last game. But there's a way you could figure it out. You could play the first game in San Diego, which I understand that kind of gives San Diego the home advantage because the first game is there, but the last two would be in New York. And New York then would have the advantage because they have, more games. But it is what it is, and they're not going to listen to me. I get it. But that's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the excitement of baseball, which occurs today, Friday, which is what it is. And the other thing is pickleball. Let me get you in on your pickleball update. At one point, I thought I talked about maybe I'd lost the joy of pickleball, but after seeing people that weren't as supportive as they were. And then I went back, and then, there was a person that was giving me tips that I didn't ask for. Hey, this is what you need to do with your game. No, just leave me alone. But I've gone back. It's not the same. It's not the same amount of joy. By the way, I did play pickleball while I was in Canada with Rory Gardner. Shout out to Rory, who was new to pickleball. So he said he played once, but he's a racket sport guy. So we went out there, took a Uber over to a pickleball court and played some pickleball. It was a nice time. We played singles, which, that's not for me. Singles is not for me. I'm at too high of a weight and too old of an age to be moving all over the court to cover that much ground. And Rory's at least 14 years younger than I am. So he won every game, some of the games handily, but at least I got some exercise in. So I'm sure it wasn't much competition for him, but it was fun nonetheless. But I already know singles is not my game. There's no reason for me to be out there running. I can't run across court, then change directions and go back on the other side of the court. I got one direction. If that's not a winner, oh well, good point. But the life is not, the joy has not returned at the same level as it was. I'm still sticking with it. I'm still having a good time, but it's not that euphoric joy that I had once before. Which is what happens, As a kid, once you find out there's no Santa Claus, Christmas is not really the same. You'll still get excited about it, but it's not the same, So pickleball is not the same amount of enjoyment as I had before. It's more realism is what it is. I realize that, all right, this is what it is. Put your head down. Get better. The grade and the curve of you getting better is not going to continue at the degree it was. So if you want to get better, it's going to take work. And so that's what I do. I play, Monday morning, Wednesday mornings and Friday mornings, and then Tuesday and Thursday nights. I go out, try to get better. I focus on one thing. Try to improve on that. The interesting thing about pickleball, that it is kind of stuck where people are telling you things about, this is what you need to do because the game is played this way. That's one of the things about it where I go, no, you need to get rid of the idea of how the game is played because that's not how it should be played. And I'm not saying that I've, got answers and solutions to improving the game. I'm just saying as a sport, the game progresses, and pickleball to the masses is new. So the idea of what you say, hey, this is how it's played, that's an antiquated way because now that you're introducing more people into the sport, those are more people coming from different sports that could play the game in a different way, and then it becomes the new way. So this being stuck in the old ways thing needs to go away. Like, the game is always played here. No, there's not always. Because now, like I said, there's new people in. Look, 2 years ago, you couldn't bounce the ball and serve it. Now you can. Do you see how rules change? They change quickly in a game that's just getting mass appeal. And it will change even quicker after that. The more people come in and the more different approaches that different athletes have to the game. That's one of the things about it, that people need to understand that. Like, the game is played at the net. Like, is it really? Because now I see there's a lot up, one back, which was what I said in the beginning when people said, oh no, the game has to be played at the net, not one up, one back. Well, now I'm seeing more one up, one back than I did in the beginning when people were busy yelling at me for that approach being wrong. But I'm still in there, still hanging in there. Do I still have the goal of being the Joe Rogan of pickleball? Kinda. Not as gung-ho as I was before. I'm still there for pickleball. We'll see how it works. Folks, I believe that is it. You know, there's one little note here that I don't have a little riff on, but it is something interesting, and I'll just kind of put it out there. You know how we had that whole slew of flat earthers where people are like, oh, the earth is flat because you can't prove that it's round and blah, 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 blah. I just had a question. Is, if anyone knows, how do the flat earthers defend time zones? Like, I can understand time zones if you're saying, well, you're here and then you're further ahead if the earth is flat, then therefore the time would be different. But how do you defend that it's nighttime in one place and daytime in the other place if the earth isn't flat? If the sun can shine on the flat earth at all times, how is it not nighttime altogether for the earth and daytime all at once for the earth? That's all. That's all I've got. I just had a question. If anybody knows how the flat earthers defend that, you can email the show at oldmanisright@gmail.com. Folks, I think that is it. It's all I've got. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, for, listening to the nonsense that spills out of my head. You can find all things Lamont Ferguson at lamontferguson.com, or you can find any of the social media platforms that I'm associated with. Most of them are at TV Funny Man. That's what the handle is on that. Check out the YouTube channel. Do all the things you need to do that gets you in touch with all things Lamont Ferguson. As far as the calendar coming up, where can I be seen? Well, unless you're going to be on a celebrity ship, the Celebrity Solstice, October 18th through the 25th. That's where you can see me. That'll be the Mexican Riviera is what we'll be doing there. Other than that, I got to stop in at the Comedy and Magic Club or the new stand-up comedy club in Bellflower, California. But I will let you know when those dates are. Those dates will be posted to the website. Other than that, folks, that is it. I've talked about a lot of things today. Some things controversial, some things nonsensical, some things just fired up cranky. And I could have been wrong. I could be wrong about the whole thing with women. I could be wrong. I don't know if I am. I could be wrong about customer service, although I know I'm not. I am not wrong about customer service. You know the drill. I'm an old man, and I talk about things that I see. And a lot of times, I may be off. Maybe I don't have all the information. I could be wrong. But sometimes the old man is right. I'll see you next time.